Welcome to the Women in Digital Dentistry podcast, where we empower through innovation. I'm Allison Lacusier, your host, and each week we'll explore the mindset and the skill set of creating a successful practice and life for women in business. From the latest in dental technology to mastering marketing strategies, creating team synergy, cultivating a powerful money mindset, this podcast is your resource to empower yourself and your team to have the most success possible. Whether you're an established business professional or just beginning your journey, we're here to help you unlock your full potential, lead with confidence, and have an incredible journey along the way. Welcome to the Women in Digital Dentistry podcast. Welcome to another episode of Women in Digital Dentistry. I am here with the incredible Dr. Christina Blacher. Welcome to Women in Digital Dentistry podcast.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. I love catching up with you.
We are so lucky to have you here. And I was just looking forward to this all week because I know it was like a year and a half ago that we had our very first podcast together, and it was just so inspirational. So I can't wait to just dive into our conversation today. And I know all of our listeners are going to feel so inspired when they leave. So why don't you, for anybody that doesn't know you, but if they're on social media and if they're in the aligner world, they 100% know you. But if for those of the audience that may not know you yet, can you please share with us just about you and how you've come to become the Queen of Invisalign?
Sure. So my name is Dr. Christina Blacher. I'm a general dentist based out of Dallas, Texas, and I'm a normal general dentist. I'm a completely normal dentist. There's nothing like crazy special about me, but I just became successful with Invisalign in my practice about 5 years ago. And I just dove headfirst into it and learned everything I could. I was able to grow my practice with Invisalign, and that led me into a career that I had no idea was even going to be part of my life. And so I created an Instagram platform first and foremost about 5 years ago, and it's called Queen of Invisalign. And I post tips and tricks and anything I've ever learned. I post it there. And then that led me into teaching. And so now I get to travel all over the world and help dentists and team members and motivate and help them grow. And I know you speak just as much, Allison. It's the most fulfilling thing for us as educators to see people grow right before us. And so that is my passion. I now do that full time, and then I still do practice, but I'm only 1 day a week now. And so I've kind of made teaching my full-time gig, and I absolutely love it.
Oh my gosh, you're so good at it. You are so good at it. I've had the really unique privilege of being able to see you in very, I want to call them just like special times. So Christina was the keynote for the 2021
One. Yeah.
GP Summit. So the keynote for the GP Summit, there's like well over 1,000 people there. It is a giant stage. There is a camera on your face, like looking at your eyelashes. Like it is a big deal. And I had the privilege of getting my makeup done with you.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, we got our makeup done together because we were speaking on stage together. And that was kind of the first time we got to know each other. But I just noted this right off the bat. I'm like, holy smokes, she is just so calm and composed and focused before going into potentially one of the biggest like events of your life at that moment. Like it was a big deal. And I remember being like, holy smokes, like she is calm as a cucumber, like so focused,
On the
so dialed
outside.
in,
On
so
the
dialed
inside, I
in.
was freaked out, but I'm glad that it came off calm because that's not how I felt on the inside. Not at that event. I was definitely nervous.
I can imagine. I mean, as you should be. It's a huge event. But I think something that we can all learn from you really is like one, I don't know if I've ever met somebody that works as hard as you. Like you are so dialed in, you're so focused. But two, like even though you're scared or you're nervous or it's a next level for you, you go for it and you have this like mindset that I've gotten to know over the last few years that's so positive. So share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So my whole life, I've been just a big believer in energy and positivity. And I realized that it can transform your whole life, not just from work, not just from family, every aspect of your life. If you are positive and you carry yourself with that energy, it will just make your life happier and you will actually get more things that you want and your dreams and your goals and your inspirations. And I am a big believer in manifesting and putting out into the universe whatever you want, even if it seems unrealistic. And that's actually what happened with that keynote that year. I I didn't think I was even in the running for that keynote. And I like 6 months before that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to put it out there and say, I want to be the keynote speaker. And lo and behold, they invited me, which was wild. And so, yeah, I'm a big believer in energy and just living your life, trying to be positive. And also, you know this, I love gratitude. I think gratitude is so important.
Oh my gosh. It's so fun because over the last couple of years as a professional coach and my little brother's a neuroscientist, we've actually gone into like the neuroscience of manifestation, the neuroscience of gratitude. And it is like no joke, no lie. It is so powerful in transforming your life. So you're 100% right with this.
I love it. Yes, I love it. Any aspect that we can use it, we do.
So how did you develop that mindset? Like how did you create or learn or first understand like this is something that's so important because as we know, dentistry is hard and challenging. Sometimes being in business as a woman, we get unique challenges, we get unique situations that we're faced with, and sometimes it can feel overwhelming or it can feel really heavy. And I know you and I have both gone through our heavy, hard moments. How do you stay in that mindset going through them?
And honestly, this last year, so for those listening, I had a baby since the last time Allison and I did a podcast. I had a baby. He had a very rough entrance into the world. He was a preemie. I had a traumatic birth. And so, like, even in this last year, I've learned so many things about trying to stay positive because in no matter what's going on in your life, personal, professionally, sometimes we're all going to be in those dark places. And it's so hard when you're in that dark place to see the other side. You're just like you're spiraling in that dark place and you can't see that yourself is ever going to get out of it. And so that's like one of the biggest things I've learned just in this last year is like knowing that no matter what you go through, no matter the hard times you go through, you are always going to get through it. You're always going to see the other side and a lot of times you come out on the other side stronger and better and more positive and that's I think that's what happened to me this year. So I would encourage anyone, if you ever are struggling with something, just know that it will be worth it no matter what you're going through, and you will come out a much stronger person on the other side.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's been something I've been really like playing with the idea of this year is like discomfort isn't always a bad thing. Like
Right.
we can feel uncomfortable or we can feel sad or we can feel heavy and yet it's like what am I gaining through this? And it's usually some of the most valuable skills, resilience, patience, being able to be even more determined and what you come out with and who you come out as on the other side is so powerful.
Yeah, I would say that. And I know, like, especially being a female in this industry, a lot of what a lot of people don't realize is like we carry so many plates. We have so many different hats. We are always needed being pulled in 1,000 different directions. And so it's even harder for some of us because we have these feelings like I need to be there as a mom. I need to be there as a professional. I need to show up and be positive at these speaking events that I'm going to. I need to it's like sometimes we have to juggle more than we thought and it's honestly that energy will get you through all of those situations.
100%. Oh my gosh. And it's so true. Like, that's one of the reasons why I created Women in Digital Dentistry was because I wanted other women to feel like they're like, oh, like you also struggle with that, or you also feel this way, or you also are carrying a bajillion things on your shoulders. And you're wondering why, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I make this work? And the truth and reality is, like, when you have kids, when you have a practice, which many of the women in our community are like, that's another baby and then you have
Mhm.
your career and then you have just being a person and a woman and having individuality. It's a lot of things to kind of balance together. And so what would you say have been some of your learnings this year? Because I see you and I just love watching you on social media, by the way. Like it's my favorite thing. You're so authentic. It's the best. And then I'm like, oh, there she is. That's what she's up to. So I love celebrating you from social media. But you've been on planes and you have a little one and you have a practice that you're working in and you have a big career supporting a lot of dentists as well. So what have been some of the strategies or tips that you've kind of come up with in the last year to kind of balance all of this?
Honestly, Allison, and I see you all over the world too. I watch your stories every day. But one of the most important things, shockingly enough, is this year I learned to set boundaries.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, I'm a yes person. They would say, "Do you want to come speak here?" Yes. "Can you jump on this call?" Yes. "Can you come to this meeting?" Yes. I used to just say yes to everything because I was trying to build my career and my reputation. And what I realized after having a baby is I cannot be a yes person. I cannot be everywhere all at once. And so I actually set some real boundaries, and I stick to those boundaries. And sometimes I have to tell people no. And sometimes I say I can't be there, or I can't stay late, or, and honestly, it's been like so riveting because it's changed my whole mindset towards the world. And now I love it. It really empowers me when I get to say no, as funny as that sounds. But I feel like for those of us who are juggling so many things, you've got to have boundaries somewhere, or you will burn yourself out and you will not enjoy what you're doing.
100%. Oh my gosh, you inspired me earlier this year when we were planning our December 6th event. And I was like, Saturday or Friday? You're like, oh, I don't speak on Saturdays. I'm speaking on Friday. I'm like, no way. And I remember like telling like my mom about this. I was like, did you know that Christina doesn't speak on weekends? Like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like, I want to be home for the weekend. And it really inspired me. And so I think that's something we have to remember too. Like when we like often I see women and myself included, I am a yes person, and it has gotten me into trouble where I'm like, this is too much.
Mhm.
But I see women often wanting to like make sure that everything in the external world is fine, or we're prioritizing everyone else. But we don't realize that when we actually make a priority of ourselves, it was really inspiring for other women. They're like, no
Yeah.
way. Like, this is that's what I want to give myself permission to do. And so I love that you're leading boldly in that way. And it really is inspiring to me.
Wait, I love that you say that because I've turned down probably 20 events that are coming up in 2025 because they wanted me to do Saturdays. And I said, I'm so sorry. I don't do Saturdays. And for me, family time, being at home with my baby is more important than that. So yeah, I
Ugh,
love that
I
you
love
love
that.
that.
No, I seriously, it changed. I was like, no, I'm not doing that anymore either. No, I'm done. No more Saturdays.
I love it. Well, you get to control that. You get to control your life and your narrative, and you don't have to bend over backwards. I mean, will I do a big event on a Saturday? Of course, but I get to pick and choose. And that has been honestly more empowering for me as a mom, a female, a dentist, a speaker. So I love that.
100%. I think something I realized this year too is that our careers have longevity. Like there's a runway for us. And if we push too hard or we like don't set boundaries for ourselves, we don't care for ourselves, that runway is going to be short simply because we will get tired and
Yeah.
it won't be fun anymore. And so being able to prioritize ourselves, and this is the exact same for practicing dentistry. Like I share with a lot of my female owners, I'm like, if you own the practice, you get to decide when you decide to start your schedule and when you end and when you have CEO time and when you want to go and pick up your kids after work. Like it's your practice, it's your schedule. Your patients will operate within your schedule. And
Yeah.
it's like this freeing moment where I've helped women like kind of release the pressure of needing to stay until 6 p.m. They can leave and go pick up their kids after work.
Yeah. You know what? You know what was the biggest thing that I realized this year? I will tell you, when I was pregnant, and I think you and I did the podcast when I was pregnant, like a year and a half ago, I was terrified. I was terrified that as a female, as a mom, as a speaker, as a dentist, that after I had a baby, I would basically become irrelevant. Like that was one of my biggest fears. I thought people are going to stop asking me to speak. People are going to stop giving me opportunities because they're going to be like, oh, no, she has a baby now. Like she needs to be at home. And I was terrified that my career was going to kind of like fizzle after I had a baby. But I had so many amazing women leaders that I talked to all over the world, specifically at Align. And they told me, they're like, Christina, don't worry about that. Don't worry. You are going to be even better than before. And so honestly, that's what happened. And I'm so happy I could like say that now on the other side because I was so fearful when I was pregnant that I was going to lose my career. And now we embrace it. And it's actually led to more opportunities and more just events that I get to go to and share with other moms now and other dentists and other females. And so I would say if anybody ever has that concern, don't you sweat it for 1 second because I was very nervous about it. And my career is honestly better than it's ever been.
Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps from that. That's like that's incredible. And I think truly like when we're working with organizations that really do like this is the women movement. This is women in business movement where organizations and companies and just like society respects and honors and celebrates women as they are. Like we are built and many of us choose to have children, and being able to have the career and the kids and the family that really is. And then having organizations that celebrate that is really like what the women empowerment movement is all about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I'm excited to kind of just keep surrounding myself with those types of women. And the other thing I also learned, Allison, is always be kind because you never know what somebody's going through. Never. You never know what somebody's going through. And it's like those of us who are dentists, our moms, our leaders, or whatever hats that we're wearing, you never know what somebody's going through. And so somebody always can put a happy face. I mean, I'm sure you've done it too. Speakers, we don't have perfect days every single day. And there's days that we're having a terrible day or we're just not in the mood. And we just have to go out there and act like everything is perfect in our lives. And so I will say, like, no matter what, always be kind and always understand that people are going through something and everyone has something that they're going through.
It's so true. And I think that's a really strong skill set that especially like high performing, like high achieving women have is like we're so good at like buttoning it up and moving forward and like not even like cracking open the fact that we might be going through something hard and challenging, but at the same time we're human beings. And I think
Mhm.
that's another thing that when we surround ourselves with women who are empowered and who support each other and uplift each other, it's okay to share that like things are going sideways or I am tired or I don't know what to do or I'm scared. And that allows other women to have permission to be like, oh my gosh, I feel that way too. And then be able to talk about it and know that they're not alone. And so I think something that you do so well, like even on your social media, like you're so authentic, but then even more in real life, like you and I have had just like incredible conversations around like just things that we're going through. And it's so uplifting and empowering because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And two, this is how I can help, like I can get through it. It's, there's nothing wrong with me that I'm going through something hard because everyone seems on the outside to be like, they have their shit together and they're just moving forward. And it's like, sometimes no, it's life. Like we're going through life.
Yeah, for sure. Here's the hardest part for me is like on social media, I don't ever I want to be authentic. I want everybody to see my real life. I share everything. But I don't ever want to put like my negativity onto
I
social
know.
media. And so that's such a hard balance sometimes because I want to share everything, but then I don't want it to come across sometimes as like, oh, she's complaining about this or and so I feel like that's the biggest challenge with social media is trying to
Yeah.
balance it all, but still, be that positive person, be there for everybody else while still showing everything in your life.
100%. I similarly have felt the exact same way. And this last year I had a really scary experience when I was in like Kansas speaking at an event and I was all alone and I got a
Oh, is that when you
bite.
went to the hospital? I
Yes.
remember this.
Yeah, and I actually like, people I was posting all this like stage stuff and it was like I was on this like speaking like back-to-back event. And then I was like, I feel so inauthentic, like not talking about how I'm going through this whole thing right now, where I got bit on the face by a bug and it like swelled. First, it swelled my ear and my throat. So I like had to go to the hospital because I was like having an allergic reaction. And then it bit my eye and my eye swelled shut. And I had to like find a way home going through this like allergic reaction. And I shared it on social and I felt very weird about it. But the
No, but
cool thing,
I remember it. Like, I still remember it, and I
yeah,
remember, like, being like, "Where does she stay in Kansas City?"
yeah. And it's the thing that like kind of like shook me a little bit was like how many people were like, how can we help you?
Mhm.
And like I'm not somebody that likes to ask for help. Like I'm just not. I'm like, I got it together. Like I'm going. So many people sent me a message and were like, how can I help you? And it was like this realization for me, like, holy smokes, like this is
Mhm.
real life in many senses. And if you just like wave a hand up and say, like, not doing so well right now, it's actually not seen as like, oh, she's complaining about this, but
Mhm.
how can we support her? Which was so interesting. It was a very interesting experience for me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm glad that you're okay.
Me too. Tell me, this is one of the questions that I've been planning to ask you on this podcast is why are you so passionate about empowering women in dentistry?
Honestly, I feel like the more that we empower each other, the more we all grow together. And I had so many people in the very beginning when I was a nobody, when I was a little dentist who just did a few Invisalign cases here and there. And I had other females that empowered me. And so all I want to do is spread that love. I just want to help anybody feel like a somebody. I want to help them grow. I want to see you succeed. And that when I go to bed at night, when I replay my day, it's the stories that people tell me being like, just because of this one little thing that you did or said helped me in my practice in my life. That's honestly the meaning of life. And that makes me feel fulfilled. So that is the why behind everything that I do.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I see it. And I actually hear about it too when I'm in the speaking world. People will say, like, oh, I took Christina's course and this is what shifted for me or this what changed. I'm like, yes, that's
Oh,
amazing.
I love that. I love that.
It's incredible. We can make such an impact in other people when we're kind and when we want to uplift and support them. So we are going to be speaking together again. This is going to
Yay.
be our third time on stage together, which I love. I'm so excited for this on December 6th. And we are going to be talking about kind of money mindset for business success. And really, how do we utilize the Align digital platform and the Align tools to grow our practices? So, share a little bit around your lecture, around what you're going to be sharing at our event at the Align headquarters, which is such a beautiful venue. I cannot wait to have you there. I know you've been there many, many times, but it's going to be so much fun to be there together. Share
I
a little bit
know.
about what you're going to be teaching at that event.
Yeah, the view honestly from that office is insane. So just come for the view. But I am excited to share my own personal story. I'm going to share exactly what I did when I first realized that I could grow. And so I'm going to share what happened to me financially. I'm going to share what happened to me in my practice. I'm even going to share what happened with my own team members. I've actually had team members go on to live successful careers just because of these few little things that I did in my practice, which is wild to me that they're off now doing their own big things. And so I'm going to share my own personal story, what I did, how I was able to grow. I'm going to share some of the systems that I created, and then really have an open conversation with being that female in the industry and dentistry and how I was able to lead my team to become successful. And then honestly, we're going to talk about personal stuff too. We're going to say, you handle it all in your personal life? How do you make your life successful, whatever success looks like to you? And so I'm so excited to be able to be there and have an open conversation with you and with all of the amazing dentists that are going to be there. So I can't wait.
Oh my gosh, they're going to leave so empowered and inspired. And I know they're already so excited for you to be there with us. So I would love to wrap up with sharing a little bit more too about how you are helping dentists with your own consulting company. I know you launched that a year and a half
Yeah,
ago.
a year
Yes.
ago. Yes, a year ago. So I had two ideas. And these all happened when I was pregnant. So it's like everybody thought I was crazy because here I am, like about to have a baby, and now I want to launch a company and a consulting business. But I had two main ideas. Number one, turnover in dentistry is hard. No matter if you're in the DSO world or in private practice world, turnover of team members is hard because sometimes you get your perfect team and everybody's trained and working well. And now all of a sudden you have a new team member and then you have to retrain them all over again. And so training constantly is a burden for a lot of us who are trying to run around and run a practice and a life and be a mom and things like that. And so idea number one was how can I create something that's replicable that can help team members learn easily? And then
Yeah.
number two, a lot of doctors who are brand new to Invisalign, maybe just got certified, they don't always know where to go, which way to turn, what courses to take. And so I created this online content specifically for those newer doctors. I created it for those fundamental doctors who want to be able to jumpstart their practices, both from their teams and from their clinical confidence. And so I created my online consulting platform. It's called Christina Blacher Consulting. We refer to it as CBC. And it's got those two courses in there. So I'm AGD PACE approved for CE. So I have 7 hours of AGD CE. And it's a team training course and it's a clinical confidence course. And it's all around growing your practice, how to get your team members all trained the same way. It's even simple things like how to place attachments, how to scan with iTero. What are some of the good conversations to have with iTero? I post all sorts of examples. And then the clinical side, it's everything you need to be clinically confident, 3D controls, how to set up your cases, what to look for, tracking issues. And so I've had so many doctors already take it. And I incorporate obviously the content. I incorporate documents that you can download, put your logo on, make it your own. I'm all about sharing as much information as I can. And then I also do, WhatsApp groups. I do monthly webinars. I look at cases for people. And the best is any doctor who completes it gets my algorithm for all of my clin checks. And so I automatically apply that to your username, your login. And so anytime you submit a clin check, you get it applied and you get it automatically into your clinical preferences. And so people are sometimes just coming to me for that, but I love it. And we've seen so much growth from it. And so I'm just happy to share.
Oh my gosh, yes. And from somebody who sat through your lectures, like everything you teach is so like you teach it in such a way that you're like, like I can do that. Like I can do that. It's like not theoretical. It's like so practical and tangible and like applicable immediately. And so I can
Yes.
imagine how quickly these doctors are learning.
And
So
I don't
definitely
like
go.
fluff. I'm not a fluff person. So like all of my videos are short. They're like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe. And so everything is straight to the point, no fluff. And so it's literally gives you anything you need right then and there.
Oh, so good. That's exactly what we need. So definitely go and check out in the show notes. We'll have all of the information there. Definitely go and check her out. Definitely go and check Christina out on social media. The Queen of Invisalign, very helpful tips on there as well. So Christina, I'm so excited to see you in person, give you a giant hug, celebrate
I
you,
can't wait.
welcome you to Women in Digital Dentistry, and just learn from you and continue to learn from you. And I just want to honor you for all of the work that you've done in the industry, just your resilience, your mindset, your positivity. You are like a bright light in the industry. And I'm so inspired by you all the time. So thank you for sharing and thank you for being a part of Women in Digital Dentistry.
I honestly feel lucky. So thank you for having me. I'm so excited to see you. So hopefully we will see all of you as well in December and I can give all of you a giant hug.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, everyone, share this episode with somebody who needs to hear this positivity, who wants to come to our December 6th event. And we will see you on another episode of Women in Digital Dentistry. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Women in Digital Dentistry. We hope you found today's discussion inspiring and full of actionable insights to help you thrive in your practice and beyond. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. And if you know someone who would benefit from these conversations, please share this podcast with them. We would love to hear your thoughts and feedback, so feel free to leave us a review or connect with us on social media. Together, we are building a powerful community of women leading the way in digital dentistry. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep making a difference in the world of dentistry. Thanks for listening.